Yeah, so dynamics of circular motion, basically it's just regular Newton's second law application, but so the net force acting on the body in circular motion will be equal to the mass of the body into acceleration. But in this case, the acceleration is according to the circular motion. So acceleration will be in the case of uniform circular motion. You know that acceleration kaisa hota hai. What is the difference between acceleration in uniform and non-uniform circular motion? Can you tell me? What is the direction of acceleration in uniform circular motion? It's pointing towards the center because speed is constant. No? So tangential acceleration क्या होता है? UCM में 0 होता है. So the acceleration is purely centripetal. No? So it's like this. Whereas in non-uniform circular motion, the speed is changing, so there is tangential acceleration, right? Plus, of course, the direction of velocity is always changing, so centripetal to hoga hi hoga. So that is the difference. So according to which type of circular motion it's happening, the net force will either be centripetal in case of UCM, or the net force will have both the components. It will have a centripetal component and a tangential component. Okay. So when we are applying Newton's second law, when we make the FPD, what is the second step after making the FPD? In any FPD problem, you have to resolve the forces. So just if it's a motion happening on a horizontal plane, you take your x-axis horizontal, y-axis vertical. If it's happening on an inclined plane, you take the inclined axis. So like that, if it's happening in a circular motion, I mean, if the body is in circular motion, then always we take the axis as what? Radial and tangential. So that is the thing. So we resolve the forces according to this. So accordingly, when we solve, so when solving the free body diagram, forces are resolved into centripetal, that is along minus r cap. Remember, r cap was the radial unit vector pointing radially outwards, okay, and tangential, that is along theta cap, the tangential unit vector. So that is the concept that we use. And of course, you know the formula for centripetal acceleration and tangential acceleration. Centripetal acceleration's value magnitude is omega square r, but the direction is radially inwards. So it can also be written as v square by r, because v is equal to r omega. So depending on whether we want to express the centripetal acceleration in terms of angular speed omega or linear speed v, okay, we express it like this. Whereas tangential acceleration kya hota hai? It is r alpha along the tangential unit vector theta, where alpha is the angular acceleration. You can write this r as a small r also, because they have written it as. But basically it's understood r is the radius of the circular motion. Okay. और इसका एक और relationship होता है. This tangential acceleration, which is r alpha, it can also be expressed as rate of change of speed. So that is the role of the tangential acceleration. It's applying the rate of change of speed. Okay, so we'll apply this concept to another question now. So in this next example, what is happening is that imagine we have a thin rod like this, like a wooden stick or something. This has been mounted on some kind of an axle kind of thing here, like this, which is a vertical axle. Okay. And this is attached to some motor, which is going to make this rotate. So the whole thing will, the whole rod will rotate in a horizontal plane. Okay. So this is an axle which has a vertical axis. So gravity is going in down like this. Okay. And that will cause this thing to rotate in this plane, the circular, in the horizontal plane. So this is a thin rod which rotates in the horizontal plane. Now what we have done is we have kept a ring on the rod like this, and there is some friction between the ring and the rod. So there is, and we have kept this ring at a distance of some capital R like this. So a ring of mass m is on the rod. Assume the surface of the rod is rough. Okay. Now at time t equal to 0, the rod starts from rest and is made to rotate at a uniform angular speed. Sorry, angular acceleration, starting from rest, but at a uniform angular acceleration alpha. Okay, so with that ring there in place like this, na, the rod starts to do this rotational motion with, and whatever motor is attached to the axle or whatever, it's making sure that usko uniform alpha de raha hai, uniform angular acceleration. So we have to find the contact forces which are acting on that ring. And remember, between any two surfaces in contact, there can be two types of contact forces, right? Normal contact force, and in the case of the surface being rough, frictional force. Okay. So assume that the ring does not slip on the rod. There is enough friction to prevent slipping. So we have to find the contact forces once at t equal to 0 when the motion just starts, and then once again at some time t as a function of time. We want to find the contact forces acting on the ring, assuming it does not slip on the rod. Okay, and we have to find these contact forces at time t equal to 0 just after the rod starts moving. Just after the motion of the rod starts. And then again, we have to also find it at some time t equal to t as a function of t. Okay, so it's all about forces, so it's all about dynamics. So, and anything with dynamics, you always start with free body diagram. Okay, so when you make the free body diagram of the ring, you can treat it like a particle, and it's in a specific type of motion. What type of motion it is in? Non-uniform circular motion, but non-uniform circular motion with constant alpha. So, okay. So first visualize the forces acting on it. Okay, then according to whatever acceleration you feel it will have, you have to resolve the forces and okay.
So can you scroll up just for a second?
Yeah.
Done, sir. Thank you.
Okay. No, so if like this is the axle on which the rod is mounted, so it's setting off like this, and as time is progressing, its angular speed is increasing at a uniform rate alpha. और उस पे ring ऐसा है. So what all forces will be acting on the ring? Obviously, gravity is pulling it down. एक तो वो है, but also the ring along with the rod will have tangential acceleration. So that means the rod is also pushing it tangentially. Okay? And plus the ring's velocity has to constantly turn like the rod's tangential velocity is turning. So it has to have a centripetal acceleration. Right? Now, what are the external agents that can apply force on the ring? One, there's Earth's gravity, so mg वो लगा रहा है, and दूसरा it is in contact with a rough surface. So that surface is able to apply two types of contact forces: normal to itself and friction tangentially. So see, if the ring is like this at some point of time, okay, एक तो gravity is pulling it down, so there is this surface is in contact with it and is applying an upward force. So there is one normal contact force like this, but also as this is moving like this, it's pushing the ring forward. No? No, the ring has its inertia, so it wants to stay here, but this is then pushing it forward. So there is another normal contact force which is acting in the horizontal plane. That is always acting perpendicular to the rod, and that is what is providing the tangential acceleration. So normal reaction का एक y component है, ny let's say, that's mg, and your x component है, or actually that's a tangential component, so you can write it as theta cap. So what you can do is you can take your xy plane as this horizontal plane. So instead of x and y, we will take r cap and theta cap in the horizontal plane, and your z axis is the vertical. So normal reaction has a z component, you can say nz, which is balancing mg, and it has a tangential component along theta cap, which is providing what the tangential acceleration. Okay. And as the thing starts moving, so at some time, if it has a speed v, which will be what, L omega, that has a tangential, that has a centripetal acceleration because that is turning. So now who's providing the tangential acceleration? It has to be some force, sorry, not tangential. Who's providing the centripetal acceleration? It has to be some force acting towards the center. Now, normal force cannot act towards the center because it's parallel to the rod. So which force has to provide it? Friction. इसलिए अगर friction नहीं होता तो क्या होता है? As the rod starts rotating, the ring would slide outwards. And that we'll understand even better today when we talk about centrifugal force, which is a type of pseudo force. So if you are in the rod's frame, you will experience centrifugal force outwards, and that is what is tending to make it slip radially outwards. But friction in this case is preventing this. So make the FBD accordingly. So you in fact have two components of the normal reaction force. One is the vertical component and the other is the tangential component in the horizontal plane. And you have friction which is acting radially inwards or in the centripetal direction, and you have mg. So these are your forces. So actually there are three forces: normal reaction, friction, and mg. But that normal reaction you're breaking into two components. One is vertical and one is tangential. Okay, and according your acceleration has two components: centripetal acceleration and tangential acceleration.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, it wouldn't have radial, I mean that radial acceleration. That how do we know that it is a tangential acceleration?
How we know tangential acceleration? Because we know that the circular motion is of which type? Non-uniform, because it's given that there's a uniform alpha. No?
Yes.
Understood now? It's starting from rest. So that means definitely its omega is increasing, no? First of all. And it's given to us that it has a uniform alpha. So that means it has a uniform tangential acceleration magnitude, which is R alpha. So that capital R.
Yes, sir.
I'll explain. Okay. So now see, so we will see the FBD from two types of angles. One, we will look at it like imagining that we are seeing it in a sort of three-dimensional view. So if this is our rod, the three-dimensional sort of view. So this rod is rotating about this axis like this. So the ring which is over here somewhere, that's going in a circular path like this in the horizontal plane. Okay. Now what is happening? Earth is pulling the ring down with mg. So the top point in the rod ring is in contact with the rod. So that's applying a normal reactions vertical component. So I'll write that as nz because I'll take this as my z axis. Okay. But this is rotating with some alpha, no? And some, let's say at some instant it has an omega and it has an alpha, because this is at some general time t. So we know that at t equal to 0, our initial angular speed was 0 and our alpha is constant. So we also know from that that at some time t, omega will be how much? It will be alpha t. Okay. So if it's having, and therefore the speed of that particle will have a speed in this direction, in the tangential direction. So v will be equal to r omega. So that will be r alpha t like this. Okay. So now you know कि circular motion की वजह से इसका tangential acceleration कितना होगा? Alpha. Because its speed is increasing, so it has, and इसका, and because of the circular path, इसका centripetal acceleration कितना होगा? It will be omega square r. Okay. So now what is providing the tangential acceleration? The other component of normal reaction. That's only pushing it in the. So if I see this from the top view, no, if I see this diagram from the top view, then I will not see these two vectors which I have drawn right now. I won't see nz and mg. So NZ is actually coming out of the plane, and mg is going into the plane. But I will see that this ring over here right now, this is my xy plane, okay, and the rod is somewhere here like this at this moment. So the ring is over here on the rod. Okay. So the rod is applying a tangential component of normal reaction, and that is what is providing with the the tangential acceleration. Okay, and plus something has to provide the centripetal acceleration. So that something has to be what? It has to be static friction. Okay, so static friction is responsible for this not continuing in this straight line path, but its velocity is turning continuously as it's going the circular path. So that centripetal acceleration necessary for the circular motion, because the rod is rotating. So if the particle has to remain on the rod without slipping, it has to be on a circular path. So friction does that job, right? It prevents slipping. So it has to make the velocity vector turn. So to make the velocity vector turn, it has to create a force going inwards, centripetal. Okay. So in this diagram, you will see that friction like this, right? And you will see the tangential component of normal contact force like this. Okay. So now we can see here that normal reaction has two components. It has got a vertical component and a tangential component. It's the vertical component, and it has got what I have written as n theta. You can write it as nt also, whatever. So this is the tangential component, which is in the horizontal plane. All this. Okay. So now we can see that we have nz is equal to mg. So this equation is showing us that forces or vertical forces are balanced, because there is no motion happening in the vertical plane. जो भी हो रहा है horizontal plane में हो रहा है. So vertical force is balanced. Then we have static friction. Yeah, we have static friction is equal to mass into centripetal acceleration. So friction provides the centripetal force. There's no other agent to help provide the centripetal force. It's not tied to it that point or anything like that. So tension engine कुछ है नहीं ऐसा, ठीक है? Whereas normal reactions tangential component provides the tangential acceleration. Okay. So tangential component of normal reaction that provides the tangential acceleration. Okay. So from equation 2, we have static friction at any point of time is m omega, that is alpha t r. So the friction as a function of time is m r alpha square into t square. Alpha the constant. So how we know this? Because we know that centripetal acceleration is omega square r in general, and here omega is how much? It is alpha t. Okay, and r is capital R. So that is so ये ऐसा हो जा रहा है. Whereas from equation 3, we can see that normal reactions tangential component is m into r alpha, which is constant because alpha is constant. Okay, so now we have got, so we still have to convert these into one. So we have got friction, we have got as a function of time, and is also showing us that at t equal to 0, how much friction is acting? 0, because omega is 0 at that time, v is 0 like this. Okay, but now we also know that normal reaction as a whole will be how much? Z component, vertical component, and the tangential component. So they are both constants, so it will be a constant overall. Okay. Z component is mg, and this one is m into r alpha. Okay. So you can take m common, and it is square root of g square plus r square alpha square. So this is a constant amount of normal reaction acting, but with time the amount of friction required is increasing. So if this continues forever, or at least for sufficiently long time, at some stage we will run out of limiting friction. So that could be the next question, that some numerical values are given here and it is asked at what time the slipping will start. So we have to equate the value of static friction here with has to be equated with coefficient of friction into n. That is when the slipping will start. So suppose I had given R alpha in such a way that the square root of G square plus R alpha whole square, that it come out to be, let's say, 12.5. G is 10, so that's coming out to 12.5. So your normal reaction is becoming whatever mass into 12.5. So that into coefficient of friction, that's the maximum friction available. So at some stage, this quadratic function of time, which is your friction, this is some constant into t square. So at some stage, that value of friction required will equal to what? Mu into n. So just at that moment, the slipping will start. You can understood. So we have got the answers to this. Now we have to just like write it like this, that first part at t equal to 0, you see static friction required is 0. Whereas normal reaction is a constant value only, so it is this whole. But at some general time t